Called the ladder of inference. It was developed by Argyris. Let me set the scene for you here. I grew up in a household. I was the oldest of 6 kids. My mother, my stepfather. Now, my parents believed in shared chores. You know, like as kids we had to maybe do laundry or do dishes, clean our room, those types of things, but help out around the house. Many of you probably believe in the same thing. And we used to rotate through them, so I didn't always have to do the dishes, but sometimes I had to do the laundry. Well, imagine having that through 6 kids. So my mother used to actually, when she had laundry to do, she'd wait. Anyway, you can all figure out why, right? I mean, she used to set her delicates aside, maybe the whites, you know, in a separate pile so she could do them on Saturday morning when we were all in bed. All right, many of you are shaking your head, so you've had some similar situation. You probably know where this is going. So she put her laundry in, she started it, she went back upstairs, she was doing something. A couple minutes later, she heard thump-thump, thump-thump, thump-thump. She goes, there is nothing in that dryer that should be thumping right now. So she went downstairs. She opened up the dryer. She pulled out a pair of red Converse sneakers in her pile of whites. And they weren't just red Converse sneakers. They were wet red Converse sneakers of my brother Ben. Okay? So you can imagine in her mind what is going through her mind right now. Okay? So the first step on this ladder is that we take some piece of data or behavior. So I want you to write in there. We select a piece of data or behavior. There's some situation. In this case, the data or behavior is my brother put his red shoes in the dryer with her white clothes. What's that? Yeah, was it cold or warm water? I don't know. But they were in the dryer together. And then she makes an assumption. So what's her assumption she probably made at this point? What about my brother Ben? Yeah? That, you know, in this case, her assumption is, well, my conclusion is that he's probably ruined all my white clothes. My assumption is that he knew what he was doing when he did it. Okay? He knew he was putting his red shoes in the dryer with the white clothes. And she drew some conclusion, which was, he's out to get me. My brother Ben is out to get my mother. And the way he's doing it is by slowly driving her crazy. Okay? So she draws this conclusion that he's out to get me. From there, based on this, she forms a belief. Now the belief is that, well, if he's out to get me, I can't trust him. I can't trust him. I can't trust him to do the laundry with my clothes in it. I can't trust him. And actually, she probably forms an entire belief that she stretches to everything he touches, which is, I can never trust him. So what did she do? She created, we make assumptions, draw conclusions. I want you to just write these in, sorry. I got off on my story. And she adopts a belief. I'll tell you the other thing she adopted. Rule number 137 of growing up in a family of 6. Ben is no longer allowed to use the dryer. And let me, you think that rule stopped Ben from using the dryer? What does he do now? Huh? Yeah, wait till she's in bed. He still sneaks his sneakers in there. What was the behavior he did in the beginning? Snuck his sneakers in the dryer. You see how her response to the belief she formed actually caused him to continue to do the behavior she was planning on having him stop? How many of you somewhere along the way have gone up the ladder of inference? If you don't put your hand up. All right? Some with your kids, with your husband or wife, with your boyfriend or girlfriend, with your student in your class. Okay? And how long do you think it took my mother to go from the behavior to the belief? Like a flash. Right? 2 seconds. The interesting thing is, out of this whole thing, the only piece that was actually true was the behavior. The only thing that she knew for sure was the behavior. So often we see the behavior, and that's the only piece of fact we actually have in a situation before we go up this ladder. Now, where do you think, as paraeducators, when you're thinking about this student, maybe how you reacted to your student on the back of your page, where do you think you actually need to cut in and make a conscious effort to stop yourself? Where is that? Yeah, right. Somebody said right before making assumptions. Yeah, right after behavior. Okay? So I want you to draw like an arrow right to behavior.